Hi.
I said that too loud. It's so good to be here. How do you feel, Mark?
Like it's mind-blowing, and like Evan said, it's been 5 years ago that we dreamt about this.
And now it's a dream come true. And here we are. Welcome everybody to the launch of the Love the Last March, the longest sculpture in the world. Today is a very proud moment for us, isn't it, Mark?
Proud of it.
For more than 30 years, we have been advocating for the protection of the world's wildlife and their habitats. And we invite you all to stand with us today and to walk with us alongside the march together for all endangered animals. We're so grateful to all of you for being here tonight, our friends, family, and wildlife lovers. Thank you for making all of this possible. We're so excited to be here on this historic day for all wildlife. This sculpture's here to break records, but more importantly, it's here to rewild the world. We're here so our children will be able to see animals in the wild. We're here because as humans, we can make the difference for the world of wildlife, and we stand here today because of our passion for protecting wildlife and the ecosystems that they call home. In the past 50 years, we have lost 70% of the world's wildlife. A very staggering and frightening figure. That's 3/4 of the planet's animals gone forever in just one human lifetime. Very, very frightening. It means so much to see so many of you standing here with us in support, and Singapore is proof that we can live harmoniously alongside the wild and care for our planet. We honestly couldn't think of a better place to start the march.
So just a few thank yous before we get into the hows and whys of all this happening. I think what we're going to do is say a thank you to every single person here, because you are all animal lovers. You all love wildlife, otherwise you wouldn't be here. You all find enchantment and wonder and excitement by seeing our wild planet. So I think we're going to start off by clapping and applauding each and every one of you because you love wildlife. And now the first thank you to this incredible place. When we came here, what did we think?
Oh my God, Gardens by the Bay. Honestly, it's the most beautiful place we've ever seen in our lives. 100 hectares of plants.
1.5 million.
1.5 million plants. And now 62 amazing animals to go with them.
Yes. So, what's quite interesting is that we're lucky that we have done work in New York and London, Australia and elsewhere, and we have lots of people that support us in those countries. When we first told everyone that we were going to launch the exhibition in Gardens by the Bay, what was the reaction? Blown away.
Blown away.
Blown away. They said this must be the best location on earth. And, we're not exaggerating. We had people messaging us all over the world saying, oh my God, this place is incredible. And here today, it really, really is. We're saying outside that Singapore Gardens by the Bay is an example to the rest of the world. Why? Because the land's so precious. There's so little land, and everyone takes such amazing care of it, appreciates it, values it. And this is an example to the rest of the world, and we're going to spread this message, how amazing Singaporeans, Singapore, and the respect they treat the environment. And also, big round of applause to Sculptures by the Bay. Gillian mentioned that, and Evan mentioned, the huge undertaking to get these sculptures to arrive, and then the installation. That goes to our incredible partners. Where are they?
Asian tigers.
Asian tigers, there you go, Asian tigers. Amazing guys, work 24 hours a day, didn't eat, didn't drink, superstars, so thank you so much. You would have seen all the signs out there, and they are basically talking about the champions in the wildlife arena, no other than WWF,
Singapore.
And the work they do is amazing. You don't know enough about it. You've really got to see how these guys are changing the planet for the better. They're on the ground. They're raising funds. They're bringing awareness. They're finding new ways of helping this planet grow and these animals actually survive and have a future. So we're so proud to be with WWF and support them in every way we possibly can. Encourage you to do the same.
Thank you.
And finally, Julie and I, in the beginning, we decided to self-fund this. But it was going to be an impossibility to do this. So, because of you in the room, you stepped up and you supported us, and you sponsored each one of these sculptures, and you literally empowered us, both financially and inspirationally, to make it happen. So a huge thank you to everyone in this room, to all our sponsors. We couldn't have done this without you.
Thank you. So protecting wildlife has been a mission for both of us from a very young age. I was fortunate enough to grow up in Africa where I had wildlife on my doorstep. So I had frequent viewings of elephants and giraffes and zebras, and they became very second nature to me as a child. But one day, when I was out on safari with my mum and my little brother, I was 9 at the time and he was 6, we were driving in a Land Rover, and suddenly we heard this huge bang and then a cry of an animal. And when we went closer, we realized that an elephant had been shot by a poacher. So we got out of the Land Rover and we approached the dead elephant, and then the people that we were with said that the elephant was also pregnant. So I remember at the time, that was just a huge, just such a huge emotional trauma for me as a child to witness something like that. And from that moment onwards, I said to myself, I've got to do everything in my power to try and protect wildlife. And so I feel like that's what we're here to do today.
And I can tell you, Julie really has, from the moment I met her, she's had such strong conviction. It was interesting that when we met, I also had a love, passion for wildlife. Mine started at the age, I think, of about 6, when I saw a documentary by Jane Goodall, the amazing Jane Goodall, and she, National Geographic released it about her experience in Gombe in Tanzania with chimps. And it was one of those young, life-altering moments where I just felt such a connection to these amazing chimps. And they're so much like humans, but maybe better than us. And I made myself a promise as a young boy that I'd save and save and save, and when I have enough money, I would go to Gombe stream and see all those chimps. And it took me a while, but eventually, at the age of 19, I had saved enough, and I got on a plane and I went to Tanzania and to study the chimps for a while. And like Julie, I decided that my mission in life was going to be to do everything I could do to save all wildlife for my children, for their grandchildren, for all the future generations. So that was quite an amazing thing that when Julie and I met, we were both animal lovers. On top of that, we were both artists. On top of that, I just thought she was the most amazing woman in the whole world. But how could you not? I mean, honestly. So when we met, we talked about all our ideology, our beliefs in conservation, our beliefs in wildlife. We were young, we were in our 20s. We also talked about art, and we decided that we were going to use our art to do everything we can to save wildlife. So we'd sit for hours and we'd come up with ideas, and we decided to slowly try to change the planet for the better in making wildlife sculptures. And the very first one was many years ago. I think it was in Sydney, and we were just blown away by the reaction. We then had another sculpture in New York and London, and what happened?
Honestly, the response was so overwhelming, and we've started to create over the past 15 years, we have created now so many large-scale public sculptures of certain animals. We just concentrated with one species at a time, but then we realized that the problem was so much bigger than one species. We realized that there were just so many species that needed our help. And we weren't ones to give up, were we?
No.
No. So sadly, we're currently experiencing the 6th mass extinction. And in January 2020, the International Union for the Conservation of Nature listed 203 critically endangered mammals, including 31 tagged as possibly extinct. So species are disappearing at a very alarming rate. The world has lost 70% of its wildlife in the last 50 years. That's 70% gone since I was born.